Alright, here we are at the new Daytona road course with the new chicane, which ruins everything. I hate it. There's a whole 7-minute rant about that. I don't like it. It's a small change, but it ruins everything. Can no longer be considered running the same, historic 24-hour track, because it's not the same. It's similar, which is what I wish they would have said from the beginning, but oh well. Anyways, keys to the race card. Number 1, tires front and rear, mostly because the rears you need to grip up on exit, and the fronts you need to turn, and actually hurts tire wear if you lock it up, which can happen. Alright, number 2 could be like typical road course shenanigans, dive bombs, overdriving the track, stuff like that. Which, that's where a lot of speed can be, is really aggressively driving this track, but if you do it too much and you go off, you're just going to cost yourself any time you gained. So it's like trying to find the limit without going over it. And number 3 would kind of go back to number 1 with tire management, but trying not to lock up the fronts. And that's mostly present in the left-hand section of the chicane that's coming up. I've locked it up a few times and it shows on the tire wear. And I guess the rest of it would be new chicane, so, watch out for idiots completely missing the corner, or someone overdriving it, and it narrows down so you can see a lot of people making contact in the chicane. So that's pretty much it. Just keep the car on track and everything I just told you, and should be alright. So we'll go ahead and get to the lap and then do the usual stuff. Alright, I forgot to mention I'm going to do multiple track guides this week. One for this car, one for Xfinity, and the other's 87's at the Glen. So quite a busy week for track guides, so you can check those out after this, hopefully. Hopefully it'll be up by then. So I'm starting out with this right-hander. Alright, so big setup, fixed weather. The weather gave me a track temp of 120. And the fixed setup, all I changed was the brake bias to 65, which you can play around with that. And I tried a whole bunch of different ones. You can just see what feels best to you. The steering ratio, I moved to a 12-to-1 from a 10. And the offset went like 2 more clicks to the right to get it more centered. Alright, so we'll go ahead and start the right hand, left hand chicane, then we'll see how the lap was done. Alright, there we have it for a 151.5. Again, there's more speed. Q times them in the 150s, and they fixed, so that's kind of what you can go for. This was just sort of keeping the tires on a lap. Alright, so I backed it up to that right-left chicane. Leaving this corner at first gear, you want to get a good runoff coming to the line. First, second to third. Let me slow-mo this because I'm braking sort of with this light. Sort of reaches over here on the right side of my car. So like right here, I'm going to be braking pretty hard. As straight as possible. That's just my line. Going from third to second. Second to first once I get it pointed towards this little section of the track. So I let it wash out a little bit to get back in to the normal groove. You can see the more steering I'm doing, the less brake I'm using. At one point, I'm just going to let it roll, which should be right around here. You want to pick up the throttle, trying to keep this line with the groove, maybe come out of it a little bit to get a straighter launch off. Still in first gear. So you're going to shift up to second when you get to about here. Then we're going to be braking after we get the car straight. It gets kind of on edge through there, so we're going to be braking right about here, about 2 lines before it disappears. There on the left side. If you don't know what I'm talking about these. You can see as I pass the first one, about right here, I'm on the brakes pretty hard. Now you can let it wash all the way out to here, which is what you should be doing, but I kind of screwed up, so I didn't do it. Kind of gives you a good, run to the apex. So I'm going from second to first gear is what those blips were. The second blip there was stabilizing the car. So again, like before, with trail braking, we're going to release the brake slowly as we turn more into the corner. By the time we hit the center, we should be rolling. Then back on throttle to get it to rotate. We're in first gear, so you're kind of going to watch what the rear wheels are doing because it's really easy to spin them. And I think this is where most of your tire wear is going to come from in the rear. You can see I'm not even full throttle yet. Once I get it pointed, I am first to second. And you can go to third gear, but I leave it in second. While redlining, cut all this if you can. Car gets a little on edge. And you can see we're kind of fighting the grip already. So once the car starts to come back to you, that's when I'm getting on the brakes, which is pretty much this whole strip right here. See, right on the brakes, really hard. I actually missed the corner here a little bit. So second to first again, and I didn't hold the brakes hard enough for long enough. So I kind of missed the apex of this corner here. But again, let it roll once I get it pointed. Use the throttle to turn it back down. Again, trying to straighten up the exit. Using first gear is still tricky. Shift to second for a little bit. Tiny, only for maybe a second. Then we're back down to the brakes. Back down to first gear. Let me redo that because I was kind of talking over it. So basically where these cones start, that's what I'm getting on the brakes pretty hard. Going down to first right there. Using all the track if you can. Once I turn in, I'm letting it roll. Pretty much. Right there. On the gas again to get it to go. First gear, using all the track. Trying not to spin them. The more you turn, the more likely it is to spin the rears. We should be in third gear at this point. On the backstretch, we can reach almost 190, if not 190. Fourth gear. Now I'm going to be braking sort of where you see, like right here on the side, between the 3 and 2 marker. Let me back that up again, just to make sure. Basically, what I'm looking for is this. That's what my eye catches, are these 4 little bars of the fencing, I guess, is what you would call it. I don't know. That's what I'm looking at. Once I'm alongside it, I'm on the brakes hard. So we're in fourth gear. We're going to be down 15 to second, about right there. Or third, I mean. Then to second. Using the brakes, and you kind of want to, I guess, straighten out this whole thing. Like, straighten out the entrance to this part of the bus stop. Straighten out that one, and so on. You get the point. Remember, the more you turn in, less brake. Here, I'm going to let it roll into these little sections. Might tap the brake there to make sure it's, the nose is planted. Use the throttles. I guess I like to keep them as tight as possible throughout the bus stop. So again, we were in second to third. About here. The whole section was second gear. Now here's the new addition. Now, I'm looking at this caution light here. I'm going to be braking before it really hard. We're in third gear. Never shift to fourth. Third to second. take this first part of the chicane. That's when I'm downshifting the first. And here, if you want to get the car, make sure you get the car slowed down enough to where you can let it roll all the way into that first thing. Use all the curb and be really careful on exit, because, let's see. You can see I'm half throttle through here. If you're full throttle, even though the car feels planted, it'll just lose the rear grip all of a sudden. So watch that. And get a good run off. Use all the track. First to second. Hopefully you'll be redlining second. Right at the line. If not, you'll be shifting to third. Like that. And there you go. Hopefully that was good enough, because I don't really know how to explain it any more than that. Kind of was in a rush, so... But that's pretty much what I'm doing. I mean, you'd have to feel it out for yourself, so... Yeah, we'll be on to the next track guide, and I guess I'll see you then. Anyways, Sim Racing Chewy said.